Okay, Agun Erev Shabbos, everyone. Thank you for joining. Sorry for the late start today. I wasn't able to do it this morning, but the three shiurim that we were going to give in the morning, we're going to, Bez Hashem, try for now. The first one, Davar, Yafeh, Be'itai. Firstly, if you want to check out our weekly email that you have the option of subscribing to, you could go to our site, rabbidg.com, hit the subscribe button, and you'll get our twice a week email to be able to get the Mar Mekoimos. Here you'll see, Be'ezus Hashem, a picture of the upcoming Sefer on Chinuch Habanim, and Be'ezus Hashem, you can still participate in its publication. So first we're going to learn the Parsha in light of the time of the year. Parshas Bamidbar is always the Parsha we read immediately before the Yom Tov of Shavuos. The Gemara in the end of Masechta Megillah teaches us that Ezra was Masakein Talain B'chukaisai before Shavuos, because Shavuos is in effect a beginning of the year, and therefore as the year is coming to an end, we apply the rule of Tichle Shana V'Kelaiseha. However, Tosfos points out that B'chukaisai is not immediately before Shavuos, but rather there's a buffer before Shavuos with Bamidbar. Bamidbar is always the Parsha immediately before Shavuos. So let's try to study what is the connection between Bamidbar and the Yom Tov of Shavuos, the Yom Tov of Kabbalas HaTorah. The main theme of Bamidbar, in terms of Parshas Bamidbar and Sefer Bamidbar, is the counting of the Jewish people. That's why it's called Chumash HaPekudim. We always read this Parsha before Shavuos, and it's so appropriate, it is so apropos, and Yafeh Be'itai, because we find in the Medrash, in the Alkut Shemoni, that when Klal Yisrael were Makabel the Torah, the nations of the world were jealous, and they said, why would you give the Jews the Torah more than us? So Hashem silenced their accusation, and Hashem said, really? Bring me your Yichus Brival, bring me your document of lineage, just like my children do, like it says, Vayisyaldu al mishpachaisam. So what do we see from here? That the way we were zoicha to the Torah is by the Jewish people being counted by their shevet. By us being counted by our shevet, we were zoicha to Kabbalas HaTorah. Therefore, this parsha is a hakdama to Shavuos. Now, there are many explanations why the yichus of Klal Yisrael is a prerequisite to Kabbalas HaTorah. For example, in the Sefer Nava Sehila of Rabbi Yaakov Haroife, the Rebbe Rabbi Abdallah Sameach, in the Sefer Lachzos B'nayim Hashem, I thank my friend Rabbi Nassim Wadler for getting me that Sefer. He brings there that the Goyim, the nations of the world, their taina was, how could you give the Torah to the Jewish people? After all, if somebody has two children, you can't take a Yerusha away from the lesser behaved one and give it to the better one. So therefore, the Jewish people are told, bring your yichus. And the nations of the world are told, bring their yichus. And they demonstrate that only we are the children of Hashem, and the nations of the world are not the children of Hashem. And the halacha is, there's no issue of giving everything to your child over someone else. By the way, in the Sefer Drushim V'Likchei Musar of the Sundra Mordechai Benet, he in fact brings that since through our counting and our yichus we prevailed over the nations of the world, and that's why we're Makabel the Torah. So similar to what the Magen Avram writes, that we eat milk on Shavuos, because by our knowing how to be careful in dairy, we were zoicha to wrestle the Torah from the Malachi Asharis who were not careful. For this reason, we read Bamidbar before Shavuos, Vayisyaldu al mishpachaisam leveis avoisam, because that's how we were zoicha to makabel the Torah over the nations of the world. Says Drushim V'Likchei Musar. He says this is the secret of the mnemonic brought in Shulchan Aruch. Menu ve'itzru, count, and have Shavuos. Menu ve'itzru, count and have Shavuos. Another beautiful connection. The Medrash tells us, Vayidaber Hashem al Moshe b'midbar Sinai, Kol mi she'eno yosei atzmai k'midbar, hefker, cannot be koina the chachmas haTorah. Anyone who does not make themselves ownerless like a midbar cannot be koina the Torah. In fact, the Archaim HaKadosh in Parshas Yisro says on the pasuk, "Vayisu merafidim vayavoyu midbar Sinai," that divrei Torah is not niskayim only in someone who lowers himself like a midbar. Therefore, how appropriate it is to read in the Parsha before the Yom Tov of Shavuos, the inyan of Vayedaber Hashem El Moshe Bamidbar Sinai, the inyan of humility, the inyan of humbleness, because that's why we were zoicha to be makabel the Torah. Now, this week's Parsha also talks about the Degalim. There were 4 Degalim. In the east, in the south, in the west, in the north. Yehuda, Yisachar, Zevulun, together in one. And the 3 Shvatim in each direction. You know, if you look in the Medrash Tanchuma, the Medrash Tanchuma says that the Degalim showed the great love that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has for Knesset Yisrael. If you look in the Chida, in the Midbar Kedemos, and the Nefesh Chaim, Reb Chaim Falaji, he brings that the Degalim show that we are Banim Lamakayim. Therefore, since the whole reason we were Zoicha to be Makabel the Torah and to wrestle the Torah from the Malachim said, give us the Torah. After all, we're your neighbor, God. And there's a din of Bar Metzra. And the way we overcome the Taina of the Malachei Ashares is by demonstrating that we're Banim Lamakayim. So therefore, how appropriate it is that we read the subject of the Degalim in Parshas Bamidbar, because the Degalim demonstrate that we are indeed Banim Lamakayim. Now, my friend Rabbi Rafal Ansel of France showed me in the Sefer Likutei Halachos on Choshen Mishpat, Hilchos Nazikin, Halacha Daled, Ois Yud Zayin, that my friend in South Africa, Reb Jonathan Rogoff, sent to me. These are chidushim in machshava into the Piskei Halacha of Shulchan Aruch. Rav Nasan, the Talmud of Nachman Breslov, says the reason why we read Bamidbar before Shavuos is because it talks about the count of the Jewish people. Why do you think we were zoiche for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give us the Torah as one unit? God didn't give us one letter or one parsha. He gave us the entity, the entirety of the whole Torah. Why were we zoicha to get the entirety, the entity of the whole Torah? And that is because Klal Yisrael came together as one entity. So in this week's parsha, Reb Shmuel, it's very good to see you. Mazel tov on your grandson's bar mitzvah. But the reason why HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the Torah as one entity is because we gather together as one entity, and the Torah is a reflection on the Jewish people. So in this week's Parsha, when we're counted as one, when God counts all 600,000 Jews, did you know, by the way, the Gematria B'nai Yisrael is 603, because there's 603,000 Jews, says the Chida, says the Chassam Sofer in the name of his Rabbi, the Hafla. So the Torah is a reflection of Klal Yisrael. So first we count the Jewish people, and we count the entity of Israel, and then the Torah is now consolidated to be one entity for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to deliver it to the Jewish people. Another idea is there's a special emphasis on Shevet Levi in this week's Parsha. That Shevet Levi was not counted among the rest of the Jewish people. There were 22,000. Last year we said in the Peninim that the 603,000 Jews correspond to letters of the Torah. The Leviim correspond to the letters, the 22 letters before they're written in the Torah. But the special status accorded to Shevet Levi in this Parsha is reflective that Shevet Levi is the Shevet that is associated with the month of Sivan, our month. And finally, even the Haftarah of this week's Parsha is Davar Yafeh Be'itai. Do you know what we read in this week's Haftarah? We read, Ve'erasti hichli li'olam, ve'erstichli b'tzedek, ve'erstichli la'olam, ve'erstichli b'tzedek mishv b'chesed rachamim, ve'erstichli be'emuna, v'yadar es Hashem. We talk about God betrothing the Jewish people, marrying the Jewish people. When God gave us the Torah on Shavuos, He married us. He was Mekadesh Amo Yisrael, Al Yidei Chuppah v'Kiddushin. There's a very lengthy discussion about this in the Sefer HaMakneh, in the Hakdama the Makneh, and in the Hakdama to Shal Sechuvas Beis Ephraim. And Rabbi Yonasan Eibeshitz in the Avas Yonasan speaks at length on why Hashem said Ve'irastich li, because if you say to a woman Hareyat Mikudeshes and you don't say the word li, then it's what we call Yadayim She'enon Moichichais. It's not a clear expression. So we read this Haftarah because we're preparing ourselves for the great marriage. Friends, I want to share something with you. You know, I recently got a new sefer. It's called Ben Ish Chayil, of the Ben Ish Chai. Drashos for Shabbos Kala. You know why? You know what Shabbos Kala is? Shabbos Kala is the Shabbos before the Yom Tov of Shavuos. Why before the Yom Tov of Shavuos? Because we're like a Kala. We're like a Kala, and God is our Chasan. So this is an appropriate Haftarah as well. So I thank you for listening to this segment, but don't go anywhere, because I have two more unbelievable things to share with you today.
Recording stopped.